I don't know how much anybody knows about these mannequins or not. I'm going to go through as if nobody knew nothing. ¿Vale? If you're cold, let me know. ¿Vale? All right. Entonces, when we have these lines, everybody sees them on YouTube, but sometimes you have no idea what the hell it is. ¿Vale? Yo te miro a ti because I know that you must know something, but not like the rest of our girls, porque the rest of our girls know something because they're in our school. Entonces, any questions, you just ask. Okay, it's just about measuring lines, okay? This would be the bust. ¿Tú ves ahí, Donna? Sí. Vale, this just makes sense there, ¿no? The waist. ¿Me pongo un poco más para adelante a ti? The waist. The hips. This makes sense, no? To everybody. Lo que pasa es que when you see it on a mannequin, and you never explained what it is, but tú dices, tantas líneas, ¿no? It's all measuring lines. From here to here, we have the waist to hip measurement. We've set a standard of 20. Everybody's got 20. Bueno, and apart from you do, and Shirley when she comes online. So basically, it's waist to hips. Entonces, from here to here is a bust separation, which you all, well, the majority of you know, no? When we on level 2, you measure where the bust separation, but you also need the bust height, which is like that. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. Shoulder, and here is you turn it around. From there to there, we've got the back width, which is all measurements that you use. It's a bit like a house, no? You're building a house, so you know how high your roof is going to be, how wide your house, where the door is going to be, where the windows is going to be. So basically, the same as what we do in flat patterns is what we'll do on the mannequins. If you really think of a pattern, half a body pattern, more or less it's like we do it, pero this time is on a 3D effect, ¿vale? Entonces, when you see these lines, you have to think that we have to shape whatever we do. And we have to pivot in areas. For example, if you were to get a piece of paper, when we do our flat patterns, we do darts. If you put this here, de sobra todo hecho. Meaning that all this has to go. And this, I'm doing it in a paper, so you see really what actually happens. In other workshops we've done, we've stuck it down, and you haven't even got to the point to realize that it has a dart. But in this workshop, we want to accentuate the fact that you're going to be molding whatever we're going to do in fabric onto your mannequin. Yeah? Reshi? Yeah? See? Vale, entonces, we're going to shape front and back. This is the center line, and this is your grain. Now, when we talk about your grain, we talk about the threads going down the fabric and across the fabric. When we cut things purposely on the grain, we find our center point, and we're going to cut kind of our top kind of in this manner. So always looking for the grain. So when we start doing our sample, we're going to draw some arrows on our pieces of fabric with the grain of the fabric. Now, if you look at your white pieces of fabric that you've got there, you've got some lines. If you look at it across the light, you've got lines. Those lines are either down or across. And they have to match up with your center points and your center back, center front and center back. Vale? And if you don't really know where the hell it is, you just snip and tear. And that is either the warp or the weft, vale? The down or the across. So whatever you do, when we're going to do our job today, you have to make sure that your grain, those lines, go down the mannequin. If you have them across for any reason, it's because you're doing it purposely. And that would be done on the bias. Everybody knows what the bias is? See? You especially. Yeah. So we don't want to go on the bias because that all creates problems, at least not for now. Also, the idea is the grain. Okay, we're going to start working quickly. What I want you to do today is to get your tapes, which you can bring them down, but you're going to do what I do. You're going to make a top that I have decided, because it's incorporating a few things. This workshop today is about technique as opposed to fit. The only one that has a mannequin is a bit more like your body is yours. And that's because it was already half padded. And Shirley, obviously, which she hasn't come and joined us. So we are going to make a top using this tape. Many of you must have seen these tapes on YouTube or wherever. And it's a bit like our pencil. And I want to make a top which is going to go like, sorry, a bit like a triangle with underneath the bust shape. We're going to do it for the minute, we're going to do it up to your waist. I want to have like a triangle top. It can be with a bit of a shape. I want this separate because we could make a whole top, but I want it separate because we want to do the pleating or the ruching of the little spotty fabric on top of our base. So we have, I've lost something along the way. So we have the spotty fabric, we have the damask and your lining. Vale? Entonces that's what we're going to be using today. And for the top, we'll do some pleating, which makes it a bit more interesting. Entonces, you don't have to go right up to this line, pero I would prefer to do something like this. And we're only going to do half the body because whatever we cut, we're going to do it afterwards symmetrical. Does this make any sense to you when you see it like this? See? Entonces, espérate, Alex. You can wait.
Wait.
You can wait. You don't have to do it right now.
Oh,
No.
You're going along.
Vale, entonces, I'm going to bring it down to here. Now, here is where my bust line is. I can take it down to here or raise it on my armhole. This is my seam. So when we go to the next step, it's very important that you know where your seams are. The side seam, I was at the side seam point that you can draw a line with your tape, or you can use the ones that is already on your mannequin. Vale? Pero if you use this red tape, you are visualizing your top. Vale? I'm going to go down underneath the bust, creating the shape here. Can you see that? See? Yeah. Center point and waist. Basically, this is what I'm doing. You can do anything. You that do the cosplay, vale? Or you try.
This is very useful for that.
Claro, because whatever you have in your head, you can just put it there. The problem with this is that when I spoke about the fact that it's more about learning a technique rather than how it fits, it's because remember that these mannequins are just any shape or size. Entonces, the problem arises with all this draping business, and you see all these beautiful videos and all that. You have to have a good mannequin with your size. Otherwise, it's pointless. Vale? I've tried to distribute the mannequins the best we can, but in reality, if you do all this beautiful work and then it doesn't fit anyone, So this is what you see. I don't know if it was you that you said, you see all these beautiful videos, no? They put all this fabric ahí con unos pins, todo ahí todo muy chulo, ¿no? Pero después it doesn't fit anyone. Eh? See, you get a beautiful size 10 mannequin and you make a dress. Doesn't mean it's for you, doesn't mean it's for anyone. Entonces, that's where the complicated thing happens. Pero claro, this today is a technique as opposed to a fit. When we do fittings, it's a different type of workshop. Entonces, for your benefit later, I think that you've got to look for a mannequin that's got some sort of body shape of yours. No? Entonces, there's two types that I like. That's the royal dress forms and the one forms. There's some that are for lingerie and some that are for clothing. I prefer the ones that got legs, ¿vale? Porque it's a bit longer and you've got a bit more torso leg thing, and you can try on trousers as well. Those are two of my favorite. These are just mannequins that I've been putting together for many years. We've got at least 9, I think it is, because Shirley's got one at home. Have you got yours there?
Yeah, I do.
Vale, entonces, back to our drawing board. Okay, obviously we're going to continue our work from the center back. This is what I am deciding to do, but that doesn't mean that you cannot do anything that you want to do, anything that you've got in your mind. Tu en particular, que te veo venir. You can do anything. This would be really good for you, actually, because sometimes you don't have to think. It's not like the pattern cutting that you've got to really think, no? Entonces, I'm just going to do a straight back. Now, once you have the outer line of your top, you can do anything for your seam. Now, the seams are important because we have shape. This, I've done it here because we're going to have it cut under the back. But we have shape here, means I just can't get a piece of fabric and put it on top, you know, because it's not going to be shaped. So I've got to take a decision whether I want a princess line, for example, which I can do like this. This would be an option on my seam. Make sense? Mm-hmm. I could do a seam from top to bottom. Por aquí. Okay, I want to use the scissors. Or I could do something else, which is something similar to what we're going to do later with the lunaritos, is that we gather everything that's excess, because that's an option as well. But we are going to go today for this seam, which is just from the top to the bottom with this seam. Again, because we have shape, we cannot have one whole piece here because we're going in. So here we're going to have another seam. What looks nice is to have it joined to the top one, because you know, it would look a bit odd if we have it somewhere else. No, we want it matching. The same applies to the back. In where we're going to have our standard seam. So this, if you see it, can you visualize the top there?
Yeah.
Alex?
I don't know why you put that seam in that. So that's the seam you put in the fabric.
Here? Yes, because this is what I'm saying. We've got shape here. Can I actually put a straight piece of paper to be able to get the shape? As you can see, we have excess here. So we need to shape this according to our body.
So it could just be, the seam could just be a dart, or it actually has to be two pieces.
No, it can be a dart. It can be a dart. Thing is that for the ones that did the draping part 1, we did all this in fabric. So instead of drawing what we are drawing today, we put our fabric on top and shaped everything, and then took decisions on whether we wanted seams or dots. If we were to do something like this, we'd have a dot, which is like the one we use in our patterns. But today, I think it's better we do them in little pieces because you learn a bit more. This is a basic. That doesn't mean that you have to, well, not today, see, but you don't have to follow strictly these lines. Tú que tienes tus ideas raras y eso. Who's to say that we cannot have these like this? Eh? Why can't we have this seam? We can. Why not? It doesn't really matter, provided they meet up where they should meet. Who's to say that we can't have them like this, or maybe two pieces? Right? Vamos a ver. And it probably would look nice as well if we had the same at the back. I'm not going to complicate your life today because we've got enough on our plate as it is. But you can imagine that you can do. Mira qué bonito. ¿Eh? ¿O no? Instead of having our standard lines, you can be creative and then go take it to the next level. ¿Va bien, Brenda?
Sí, pero hay que tienen que coger dos, o porque tú dijiste una.
Sí, he dicho una, pero lo que estoy diciendo es que tú puedes hacer después lo que te dé la gana. Entonces, si te diera la gana, you can actually... ¿Tú estás escuchando bien, no, Shirley?
Yeah. Perfect.
Si te diera la gana, puedes poner dos costuras. Tú puedes hacer lo que tú quieras. Tú pones lo que tú quieras. Lo que pasa es que hoy I want you to limit to what I want you to do. But then you can take it to another level. ¿Entiendes? Con que basically it's the pivot points, the measuring lines, something that you've got to understand, ¿vale? Where everything goes, and then your drawing, because this is like a drawing board. Instead of it being flat on your pattern, you have it on a body. Everybody okay with that? See? But nada, apart from this, because I'd rather you didn't do these today, unless you have loads of time later, I'd like you to do this on your mannequins with your red tape and draw something más o menos within these lines. It doesn't have to be exact, ¿vale? Just look out for, a ver, por ejemplo, if you can have this lower, right? You can go that far. You can have this higher or a bit lower. What is important is that your seams have to go where they have to go, where the point of the pivot point is. Because what you cannot do is have a seam here, because then this wouldn't give it the shape of the bust. Other than that, you kind of poquito free to develop within what we have. ¿Vale?
Y sleeve y shirt no hacemos todavía.
Hoy no vamos a hacer
Okay,
sleeves.
just-
What we're going to do is we're going to do this in sample fabric. Then you're going to cut it in lining and fabric. And once we have the top bits kind of set, we're going to put it here and we're going to do some pleating, which is the next step up from draping, because this pleating you really cannot do flat pattern. You have to do it so you have to have a base in which to put this pleating on. Entonces ya después lo pone así como un alfilerito y ya you pin it, tack it, sew it, and then you finish your top. Pero ya sleeves y eso, not there yet. No tenemos brazo tampoco. ¿Vale? Entonces coge su tape, vamos a ver si pueden hacer algo. ¿Y tú qué? ¿Vas a hacer algo o qué?
Sí.